sense to do it. But for anybody that's wanting to take and try to get your brown where it prints like level and super in register, I mean, I couldn't believe what this did to mine, and I thought I had mine done pretty good. But make sure your heads are leveled. Go all the way around and make sure all the heads are level with those 4 big back bolts back there. And then the thing that got me is I thought I had a linear problem on one of the heads, and it wound up just being that the tables was so out of level and keltered up that I guess it was just dragging the screen that way. But what I use these school trays that I got. I bought hundreds of these things on top of mine to store junk in. But after you get everything level, I started on number 1 head. Go to number 1 head and take your push bar, flood bar, and measure with the machine up all the way around on each corner, on the back and the front, and have it exact on all 4 corners. And since I leveled my machine up from the floor and the arms and everything when I was putting it together, when I did this, the last time I did it, I went around and did each head individually, and it lied to me. But do every table to number 1, and then turn the machine around. And I had my machine so far off contact, I literally had to set my feet and pull, and I mean, my back was dead by the end of the day. And with all my tables now being exactly the same level, I can take 1 hand and just turn it. It's been a dream printing on this thing since I got it what I guess it's supposed to be if you called it to specs. But like I said, level every platen to that head, and then when you go around and check number 1 platen to number 7 head, they should be the same. If they not, then like if the front is more distance than the back, then that means that head's a little bit out of tilt. And I even thought that I had a sideways issue, and what Mike at Brown told me to do was to put a screen, just a blank screen, in the screen frame. And on the Browns, you've got these 2 Allen wrench adjustments that adjust the screen holder up and down. I put the screen in there and locked it down. I loosened all 4 of these up, and with the screen locked down now. And then when I brought the machine up, he said you just wanted to have it to where it would just kiss the table, but even. And being as lazy as I am, I took and just like wiggled the screen to where everything just got to where it wanted to get, and then checked to make sure it was just barely touching the table, and then tightened all 4 of these back up and did that on each head. And like I said, you know, the last thing that I showed up here over the heart on number 2 and number 3 platen was off, and if I can find those pictures, I'll add it at the end of this video. But I mean, it was way off. I've never been able to print over the heart on number 3 platen because it was so far off, and it wound up just being because I was so hard-headed to ask for help. And Brown has helped me every time I've asked him to on the phone, and the last 2 times took a little bit of time, and I offered to pay them, and they wouldn't let me pay them. And I didn't buy this press from Brown, but naturally I buy my parts from Brown. But that's how I got my press set. And like I said, it's printing like what we call like a Cadillac now. I feel like you're going to need on this thing is, all this is here is like an auto parts store. It's a set of Allen wrenches that goes on a socket. and these come in tremendously handy. Then you're going to need a measuring tape, and you're going to need a flood bar. And then this here is just a 3/4 inch wrench that heated up and bent, and this saves you tons of knuckle scarred up time to get to one of those back 4 bolts that's on the head. It's in a position to where you want to stick a dynamite by the time you get ready to try to adjust that. But this helps tremendously, and it's something you can make without having to buy a specialized tool. Okay, this is one thing that really you don't need to do, and everybody says you can't do it. And even the guy that run this press for a year said, I never thought about that. But see how the back of that is up underneath the back bracket instead of being in front of it like a screen's supposed to be? A lot of my shirts I'll put the over the heart and the back both in the same screen if it lets me. And sometimes you wind up in that bind back there in the back, and it does push the screen up, but for me anyway, if I register them for the way it's in the screen, they're working. Okay, I'm going to wrap this thing up now. But that big socket set of Allen wrenches and some extra real good skateboard wheels is something that if you don't have extra or already have, go ahead and get those things there before you need them. They are essential. And those bushings. Those bushings are what go right there on that welded piece. And if you use as much squeegee pressure as I do and print anywhere near as much as I do, you're going to break them.